The world went silent when the audio file dropped. At first, no one knew what they were listening to. The clip was only 10 seconds long, muffled, distorted, the kind of sound that crawls beneath your skin. Then, a voice emerged through the static. Weak, fragile, but unmistakably his. Yumenglong. They thought I wouldn't speak again. But death doesn't stop the truth. It only amplifies it. That was all it took. Within an hour, hashtags exploded across social media. Hashtag yumenglong speaks, hashtag EVP confession, hashtag they killed him. People from around the world claimed they'd heard something else buried inside the audio. Faint whispers, overlapping voices, names. And that's when it started. The decoding. Audio engineers, ghost hunters, and forensic analysts all downloaded the file, running it through spectrograms and frequency filters. What they uncovered made global headlines. Because buried beneath the noise, there were two names. One, He Jian, his former manager. The other, Zhao Cheng, Tianyu's silent investor. But the clip didn't end there. When slowed down, the static revealed a final whisper that shattered even the most skeptical listeners. Please protect my son. That single line broke the internet. Fan communities began playing the clip during live stream vigils, candlelight ceremonies, and public protests. People claimed they could feel Yu's presence when the file played, the room temperature dropping, lights flickering, heartbeats syncing with the rhythm of his voice. Some called it digital illusion. Others called it divine interference. But no one could deny what came next. A mysterious figure uploaded a new version of the EVP file, this time enhanced with professional clarity. The uploader's name? Black Key. The same code phrase you had mentioned before his death. This enhanced file revealed even more horrifying details. Yu's voice grew clearer, desperate, trembling, as if fighting through pain. They said I broke the contract, that I knew too much. They made me sign my silence. But I left it all, the files, the footage, in my dressing room. They can't hide forever. He paused. There was the sound of chains rattling, a gasp, then, tell Fan, tell Xingfei. I forgive them. But tell He Jian, I'm still waiting. Then came a noise that listeners couldn't explain. It wasn't mechanical. It wasn't human. It was deep, rhythmic, like the sound of heavy machinery grinding metal. Some described it as a killing machine, pulsing beneath the recording like a hidden heartbeat. Rumors spread that Tianyu Media had built a discipline facility in the basement of one of their studio compounds, a place where artists were corrected when they disobeyed. One former staff member, speaking under anonymity, said, "We weren't allowed near the lower floors. We heard noises, screams sometimes. The bosses said it was just sound design experiments." But no one believed that. Investigators soon confirmed that beneath Tianyu's Beijing complex existed a sealed underground chamber, accessible only by 3 authorized keycards, one of which belonged to He Jian. The deeper the investigation went, the darker it became. Documents found on the confiscated Black Key drive showed Tianyu's involvement in a human experiment program, manipulating emotional endurance, exhaustion, and vocal resistance. They called it Project Phoenix, allegedly a test to push performers past physical and psychological limits to create unbreakable idols. Yumenglong was one of them. In a recovered letter written weeks before his death, he described the torment. They said pain makes art, but I don't want to be art. I just want to live. When this letter surfaced, fans flooded the internet with the phrase, "Let him live." The movement grew louder than censorship could suppress. Artists across China began breaking their silence, hinting that they too had seen the machine, a euphemism for the systematic torture that kept them obedient. And then came the shock of all shocks. Fan Shichi finally stepped forward. In an unfiltered live stream viewed by over 100 million people before it was taken down, Fan's eyes were swollen, his voice cracking with grief and rage. "You didn't just die. He was executed for knowing the truth. We all knew something was wrong, but no one had the courage to face it. Until now." He then held up a flash drive, claiming it contained the final version of Yumenglong's voice recording, the one the world hadn't yet heard. Fan inserted it into his laptop. The screen went black. Then Yu's voice filled the room again. This time, stronger.
Clearer.
More haunting than ever. If this message is heard, it means they failed to erase me. Tianyu's machine runs on fear. But I've seen their faces. I know their names.
He Jian.
Zhao Cheng. Lin Shui. She signed the death order. Tell them, I forgive them too. But the machine must stop.
His voice faltered.
You could hear him sobbing. I don't want revenge. I want freedom. For all of us. Then, a sharp sound echoed, like a door slamming. The audio distorted, and a faint mechanical hum followed. Fan Shichi froze on the live stream. His expression changed from shock to horror. That sound, that's the same one I heard that night. He recorded it live. He was inside the machine. The chat flooded with crying emojis, broken hearts, and comments like, "He died recording this." Moments later, the live stream abruptly ended. 2 hours after that broadcast, Fan's apartment was reportedly raided. His social media accounts vanished. All posts related to the EVP clip were deleted. But the video had already spread. Fans backed it up on encrypted drives, Telegram channels, and even blockchain archives. No amount of censorship could bury it now. Meanwhile, across town, Xing Fei was spotted leaving a police building with bodyguards. Her eyes were red, her hands trembling as reporters shouted questions. One managed to catch her voice before she was ushered into her car. He didn't lie. He knew. Everything he said was real. Those words reignited everything. A special task force was formed, not by the government, but by international human rights organizations demanding accountability for Yumenglong's death. They called it the Phoenix Probe. Through their findings, they confirmed links between Tianyu Media and 2 offshore accounts in Singapore and Macau used for laundering money from illegal, artist reconditioning programs. The trail led straight back to the 3 names you had spoken in his EVP.
He Jian.
Zhao Cheng. Lin Shui. Arrest warrants were issued quietly. 2 of them fled the country. One, He Jian, was caught attempting to board a private jet under a false identity. Inside his briefcase were multiple passports, a burner phone, and a small USB-labeled machine control. Authorities later revealed that the USB contained schematics for an immersive neural stimulation chair designed for emotional recalibration. In simple words, controlled torture. And there, buried in the code, was one chilling line of embedded metadata. Author, YML_project_01. Yumenglong. He had been the first subject. The revelation tore through the entertainment industry like wildfire. The glossy illusion of fame began to crumble. Contracts were canceled, shows pulled. Idols spoke out in solidarity. Some called you a martyr. Others whispered that his voice still lingered in the studios where he recorded his final songs, faint, like a warning. Days later, at midnight, the mysterious user Black Key resurfaced online one last time. A new post appeared on the same forum where Yu's EVP first dropped. It read, "The machine sleeps, but it will wake again. Keep his voice alive." Attached was a download link to a file simply titled, YML_last song, wave. When opened, the file contained nothing but white noise, until the 131 mark, when Yu's voice whispered faintly through the static. "If you're still listening, thank you." And then silence. No music.
No rhythm.
Just silence, the kind that felt heavy, alive, sacred. People across the world began playing that sound during moments of remembrance, vigils, and protests. They called it the eternal voice. Today, Yumenglong's EVP isn't just a mystery. It's a revolution. It's proof that, even after death, truth refuses to die. His son, now under protective care, has started to sing his father's unfinished songs during charity events. Each note feels like a heartbeat, each lyric a resurrection. And sometimes, just before he finishes, microphones catch something strange. A faint echo.
A familiar whisper.
"I'm still here." When dawn broke the next day, the world wasn't the same. Everywhere from Beijing to Bangkok, from Seoul to San Francisco, the whispers of Yumenglong's EVP filled the air like a haunting hymn. Fans played it over cafe speakers, in cars, in temples, even in classrooms. Some claimed they heard different versions of the message depending on where they were or how long they listened. It was as if Yu's voice was alive, adapting, responding, reaching out. One woman in Shanghai said she heard an entirely new sentence when she played it at 3 a.m. Check the mirror. I left the proof in the light. Another listener from Seoul slowed the audio down and swore she heard someone else's breath overlapping Yu's, a deeper tone, harsh and mechanical. When analyzed, the breath pattern didn't match a human voice. That discovery terrified even the skeptics. Soon, a flood of digital detectives, paranormal experts, and data forensics teams joined the global search. They combed through the sound waves like archaeologists unearthing a digital tomb. Every spike, every echo, every pause was magnified, decoded, and dissected. And then it happened. At timestamp 4 minutes and 17 seconds, hidden beneath a dense layer of static, a faint Morse code sequence was detected. The translation? Look below stage 3. It was a direct reference to Tianyu's Studio 3, the same set where Yu filmed his final project, and where he was reportedly last seen alive. By sunrise, hundreds of fans had already gathered outside the abandoned Tianyu compound. They held candles, photos, and speakers that played the EVP on loop. The sound echoed through the metal gates like a lament for justice. Inside the building, authorities conducted a secret midnight inspection after the public pressure grew unbearable. The next morning, local news outlets were silenced, but an anonymous leak surfaced. The footage was grainy, taken from a guard's body cam. It showed investigators prying open a hidden trapdoor behind the stage. The camera's flashlight caught a narrow staircase descending into darkness. The air shimmered with dust. Then the officer whispered, trembling, "My God," he was right. At the bottom of the stairs lay a small concrete room. On one wall, written in dried ink, was a line of lyrics from one of Yumenglong's unfinished songs. "When the world forgets my name, let my voice remember me." Beside the lyrics was a metal chair, strapped with leather bindings and electrodes. It wasn't a prop. It was real. Blood-stained cables coiled across the floor like veins of a monstrous heart. The EVP's machine hum matched perfectly with the electrical resonance found inside that room. The same frequency. The same rhythm. This wasn't coincidence. This was evidence. The revelation sent the entire entertainment industry into meltdown. Reporters chased every executive linked to Tianyu. Lawyers fled. Investors denied knowledge.
But the fans didn't buy it.
They organized a global campaign called The Voice Lives, demanding every artist under Tianyu be freed from their silent contracts. And at the center of it all, that voice. People started playing the EVP backward. At first it sounded like gibberish. But one engineer in Tokyo filtered the reverse track through an AI sound stabilizer and discovered what sounded like a sentence. Not the end. Look for the blue light. Theories exploded overnight. The blue light could mean anything. A hidden code in his music video, the reflection of his last concert's LED display, or perhaps a reference to the Blue Studio, a private recording booth Yu had built in secret months before his death. A small group of his loyal fans broke into that abandoned booth under cover of night. They claimed that when they played the EVP through the studio's old speakers, the blue lights flickered by themselves, forming a faint silhouette on the glass wall that looked eerily like Yu's reflection. One of them fainted. Another filmed everything. That footage hit the dark corners of the internet within hours. The reflection smiled, then whispered, "Don't stop now." Skeptics called it edited footage, AI-generated illusion, digital hysteria. But those who had followed Yu's journey from the start knew better. His story had never been just about fame. It was about truth buried under glitter and silence. Meanwhile, forensic teams reopened his personal phone archives. Hidden inside a locked note file was one final audio memo, time-stamped just 3 hours before he was declared dead. In that memo, Yu sounded exhausted, yet defiant. "If they hear this, I'm probably gone. But my voice is my weapon. I left parts of me in the sound. In every frequency, there's truth. Don't let them destroy the music. Don't let them destroy me." He paused for a few seconds, then whispered softly, "For my son, remember me." Those words triggered a wave of emotion across the world. His son, the one he had begged to protect, became the symbol of hope. People drew murals of a small boy holding a microphone under a halo of blue light, symbolizing the legacy you refuse to let die. Shortly after, a group of hackers released an unlisted link claiming to contain the raw EVP file, not the edited one that had gone viral. The file was almost 15 minutes long. Only a few seconds had been made public. When analysts played the full version, it revealed sounds that shouldn't exist, overlapping frequencies in humanly impossible ranges, echoes that looped backward, and faint patterns that seemed to form shapes when visualized on spectrograms. At the 8-minute mark, those shapes turned into letters. 3 words. Not alone anymore. It was enough to send chills through the entire investigative team. Because for the first time since his death, it felt as if Menglong wasn't just being remembered. He was responding. Some experts even suggested that the EVP wasn't paranormal at all. It might have been a deliberate digital signature, a code embedded by you himself, knowing that someday someone would try to find him through sound. A living message hidden inside death. And as that theory grew, so did the movement. Candlelight vigils turned into concerts. Artists across Asia performed silent tributes, microphones switched on, but no words spoken, honoring the man whose voice became a revolution. In one breathtaking moment, during a national broadcast, a glitch cut through the silence. For 2 seconds, viewers swore they heard it again, that trembling whisper from the EVP. Still here. The screen went black. Across the globe, millions cried. Because no matter how many times they tried to bury his memory, Yumenglong's voice kept coming back, not as an echo, not as noise, but as truth itself. The voice that refused to be silenced.